Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting on a Fan. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020, and the time is approximately 7:40 p.m. and today is the date of the full moon in Libra. And so with that, I say to you, take whatever beverage you have on hand and drink up, witches! This is one of my favorite sparkling wines. It's called Apothic Sparkling Red. And I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. It's delicious. I actually am long overdue to sample their other wines, but Apothic Sparkling Red, it's delicious. Of course, please know that you don't have to drink wine to raise your glass in a toast. You can do it with coffee, with tea, hot, or tea, iced. Black tea, tisane, herbal tea, white tea, red tea, rooibos, I love rooibos, or milk if you prefer. Anyway, so, in keeping with my re-establishing routines and creating, I would like to welcome you to the March 2020 entry of the Many Moons 2020 Lunar Planner. And of course I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the cover. It's a little beat up, but that tells you how faithfully I use this. Thanks again to Sarah Faith or actually Sarah Faith Gottesdiener, for creating this. I'm so happy. And for March, and I am aware that it's now April, but let's say for now that the cards that I'm going to cast are going to have an influence from now, or rather from March 1st through May 31st. Wait a minute, 30 days, half September, April, June, and November, all the rest of 31. Yes, May 31st, 2020. So, let me show you the deck that I'm using. I'm using the Auset Egyptian Oracle Cards. As I mentioned in my previous video, one of my favorite magical books is Myth Astrology, Planets and Pantheons by Raven Caldera. And in preparation for the book, he asked every goddess and god to claim a planet and sign combination. The deity that claimed Moon in Libra is the goddess more commonly known as Isis, although years before that nonsensical ISIS terrorist group, she told me to call her by one of her ancient names, which is Auset. This is a Rockpool Publishing Oracle card deck, and I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the cover. And the deck is created by Elisabeth Jensen and illustrated by Marie Klement. It's a beautiful, beautiful Oracle card deck. I only use it, there are certain decks that I use solely for the Isis rededications, with Grove Argentum, which I've mentioned in previous videos is both a Manhattan-based chapter of the Druid clan of Dana and the International Fellowship of the Goddess Isis. Anyway, so I'm going to read to you the Tarot or Oracle card prompt for the month of March 2020 from the Many Moons 2020 Lunar Planner. And it reads, pull one card for this month to help you anchor your intentions and actions through the days of this month, or in this case, between March 1st and May 31st of 2020. Spread suggestion, how I can soften, how to touch base with what is underneath, what I must do to bring lovely different forms into my world. Okay, so I'm going to give this deck a quick shuffle. I've already shuffled the deck and cut the cards, but it's always good to shuffle more than once, I think. And given how long it's been since I've used this deck, it's a good idea to shuffle it again. Now, for those of you that are new to my YouTube channel, when I cast the cards, I always cast them for myself. However, I am always mindful that there is something that could resonate with those of you in YouTube land. So, if it resonates with you, let me know. And if you have a relationship with the goddess whom the ancients called Auset, and who is more commonly known as Isis, and if you have this particular oracle card deck, by all means let me know. Okay, so I'm going to finish shuffling. I'm going to cut the cards, and in the interest of convenience for both my awesome audiovisual person and myself, I'm not laying them out on a table. I'm going to hold them up, and I'm going to show them to all of you first, and then I'm going to show it to me, and then he's going to do a close-up of both sides. That way you can see the back of the card design. So this card represents how I can soften. So, showing y'all first, showing me, and showing you the back of the card design. And it depicts Satis. Satis is an ancient Egyptian goddess of wisdom, I'm getting it's funny, she's not the star goddess per se in the ancient Egyptian pantheon, but there is a starry aspect to her. So there's definitely this Aquarian vibe that I'm getting from her, or an Aquarius vibe. It's so funny because the key words at the bottom reads fertility and satisfaction. And it's interesting because there is this fertile land behind her. And it's funny, it's card number 32, so I really do feel that this casting of cards, this reading if you will, is actually going to be prominent from March 1st through June 1st, which would be the day after the 31st day of May, or as in 32 days after May 1st. So what I'm getting from this card is what you must soften, or what we must soften, is our feminine energies. Like, be more mindful of those feminine energies, those feminine characteristics we have. If there is something that our soul needs that's more feminine, whether it's in style, in nature, in energy, in intention, in color, then this is a good time to bring it into our world. You know, I've often disliked my tummy because it's not hard, it's soft. Sometimes it's squishy. You know, but there are plenty of men out there that have rock hard abs. I don't need to add to that number. It's okay. So I feel like this is still a time of fertility. And also keep in mind that Aries is the sign of new beginnings, and we are still in the sign of Aries. So this really is still a good time to create, to be inventive, to be clever, to be creative. This is a great time to express those creative energies. And also, you know, I began reading different chakra affirmations almost 3 months ago. And what I've noticed, because I read these throat chakra affirmations just before we began recording this video, and one of the affirmations had to do with I express myself through writing, speech, or art. So the throat chakra is a seat of creativity. In fact, it's a higher vibration of creative energy. The sacral chakra is a more mundane expression of creativity, whereas the throat chakra is more of a higher vibration of creative energy. Think of it along the lines of Uranus being a higher vibration or a higher octave of the planet Mercury. Okay, so how to touch base with what is underneath. So for me, the night of a full moon is already a waning moon. And a waning moon is an excellent time for shadow work. So this card is going to point to shadow work. So again, how to touch base with what is underneath. I'm going to show you the card first. My awesome audiovisual person is going to do a close-up. And then I'm going to look at the card, and then I'm going to read the card. Of course. It's so funny because the scarab is the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph of transformation. In Western astrology, Scorpio is the sign of transformation, and the tarot card that is astrologically aligned with the sign, well, the major arcana card that is astrologically aligned with the sun sign Scorpio is the death card, which esoterically represents divine transformation, or in this case, spiritual transformation. So, and it's no coincidence that Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and Pluto, and Mars rules Aries. So this is also a reminder of the need for spiritual transformation, and I love, love, love that directly underneath the bottom of the belly of the scarab And I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up on this symbol, where my left index finger is. This is called the Shen. The Shen is the ancient Egyptian symbol of eternity. And it's interesting to note that Shen is the ancient Egyptian word for eternity, and Shen is the Chinese word for spirit. I have always found it fascinating that two different words, two different languages, two different language families have a similar interpretation or a similar meaning or description. And that fascinates the shit out of me. Like seriously, I was like, and I remember years ago, I met a professional intuitive card reader whose name escapes me at the moment, but when he told me that he is a student and a practitioner of Shen medicine, I said to him, that's interesting because Shen is the ancient Egyptian word for eternity. And he said, Shen is the Chinese word for spirit. And I was like, oh, look at that. I still wish I remember the tarot deck that I used for my reading. It'll come to me. So, how to touch base with what is underneath. I keep saying bathe, as in to bathe. Water, of course. Dive deep within. The magical mermaids have been calling to me lately. So work with the mermaids. Even if you cannot go to a flowing body of water right now, work with the mermaids, work with the water goddesses, and work with the scarab. Work with any deities, any spirits of transformation. A lot of Scorpio goddesses have that connection. I know that in the Egyptian pantheon, the Scorpion goddess is Serket, and capital S-E-R-Q-E-T, Serket. And she definitely is a spirit of transformation. Hecate is a spirit of transformation. In fact, Moon in Scorpio is the astrological placement that she claimed. And in her own way, Auset, as in Moon in Libra, full Moon in Libra to be precise, is a goddess or a spirit of transformation. Okay, what I must do to bring lovely different forms into my world. Again, the need for creative energy. And this is the card that came out for that position. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. And I'm going to read the card. Heru, Horus. Horus is the sacred son, I'm going to call him by his ancient Egyptian name, Heru. Heru is the sacred son of Auset and her twin brother Osar, her divine consort. And it's interesting, you know, in the ancient Egyptian culture, when a woman was betrothed to a man, she would refer to him as my brother, as he would refer to her as my sister. And there is this family connection that we create with our beloveds, with our husbands, our wives, our spouses, our paramours, our fiancés, our divine consorts. You know, when I'm around non-magical folk, I refer to my life partner as my life partner. But when I'm around magical folk, fellow magical folk, I refer to him as my divine consort. Which I love doing. I love doing that. Heru is the falcon-headed god of the skies. And it's interesting that the card, the key phrase underneath Heru's name is slow victory. And it reminds me of something that I've read in Catherine Ponder's prosperity books on numerous occasions. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but what she writes, the gist of it is, when our good is slow in coming, or when our victory is slow, it is greater and richer and more fulfilling and more rewarding. Some of you know that I had a personal challenge that began, technically it began in March, but officially it began in April of last year. And there were several starts and stops, and unfortunately there was some bureaucratic red tape involved. And I remember a specific prayer that I used, and I used it with Imoja, which is how I love pronouncing Yamaya's name. And Imoja is how they say her name in Brazilian Portuguese. And I distinctly remember, it's a prayer that I've said to her on numerous occasions. And I said to her, please remind me that you are stronger than governmental bureaucracy. Please remind me that you are stronger than the patriarchy. Please remind me that you are stronger than the world of men. And it's a prayer that I've used off and on to her on numerous occasions. And it's ironic because of all the full moon goddesses that I know of, she's the one that I call upon the least, which is ironic considering that I am of Caribbean descent, and my late maternal grandmother's late maternal grandmother was a black woman. So I do have this strong cultural connection to Afro-Caribbean deities, and specifically the Afro-Caribbean goddesses. And given that Imoja has a lot of similar attributes to Auset, the ancient Egyptian goddess more commonly known as Isis, it would behoove me to spend more time with Imoja. But I don't. I'm not entirely okay with that. I've been spending more time with her lately, and I know that she's made her presence known to me more so since last December. But fortunately for me, that bureaucratic red tape was eliminated. Everything that needed to be done was done. All the assistance I needed, physically and metaphysically, I received. Mundanely and magically, I received. And now I'm happier and more financially prosperous and more at peace. Oh, there's a pot that sparkling red is delicious. So, what I'm going to say to all of you is, if you have been waiting too fucking long for your grand demonstration, I'm going to say your grand demonstration is at hand. It'll happen when it happens. But what I'm going to share with all of you is do everything you need to do. Do everything that you know you need to do to make it happen. And then make it happen. And then once you're done doing everything you can do, then say as often as necessary for you the following. This is a time of divine completion. Miracles follow miracles, and wonders never cease. It is one of my personal favorite spiritual decrees from the writings of Dr. Catherine Ponder, and it is one that I have used so often I know it by heart. This is a time of divine completion. Miracles follow miracles, and wonders never cease. I do not remember of which of Dr. Catherine Ponder's books I first read this. It would be very easy for me to say it's either in the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, which I'm currently rereading for the umpteenth time, or its companion book, The Prosperity Secrets of the Ages, which I am also rereading for the umpteenth time. Nevertheless, I do recommend using it after you've done everything you can think of doing. Maybe it'll work for you if you use it prior to that, but I find that it works best when one does everything they can think of doing to bring peace and prosperity into a troublesome or challenging situation. Into a challenging situation, yes. And the final message card is, which, as those of you that have had readings with me know, I pulled from the bottom of the deck. So once again, I'm going to show all of you first, while my awesome audiovisual person does a close-up, and then I will turn over the card and read it. I'm reading the name of the card. It says the Horus Bark. And it's so funny because as soon as I saw it, I thought of the Ark of the Covenant. Because it does have this arc thing going on. But it says Sacred Union. And it's so funny because, you know, I think about one of the other things that I've read in Dr. Catherine Ponder's prosperity books. She's written that the word desire means of the Father. as in of the Heavenly Father, or as I would say, of the Great Goddess, or of the Great Mother. And whenever we have a desire, it's because, well, I call her the Great Goddess, but whatever term works best for you, God, Goddess, infinite radiance. Infinite radiant is divine intelligence, infinite intelligence, spirit, the universe, etc., etc., etc. Whatever term works best for you, know that your desires and you are part of a sacred union. And when you merge with your desires, they come to fruition, which is imperative that you lift your thoughts up. You know, the other day, I was reading, I was looking at my Instagram feed, and there was a post from Unity Church Worldwide, which is the church of which, at which Dr. Catherine Ponder's director. And it's located in Palm Desert, California. And the affirmation read, "You are on the way up." So it is imperative that you keep your thoughts on the way up. Make your thoughts as prosperous as possible, as peaceful, as healing, as plentiful as possible. Because unfortunately, it has been my experience these last few weeks that the days of Woodward and Bernstein are long since dead. But again, if you are a journalist that maintains the integrity and the practices of Woodward and Bernstein, please let me know who you are, because I would love to read your work, and I would love to know that there are people who are living legacies of Woodward and Bernstein. It would actually uplift me more than I can even begin to tell you. But with that being said, no matter how challenging your life is right now, no matter how challenging your world is right now, do your best to make your thoughts as peaceful, as healing, as plentiful, and as prosperous as possible. Because now more than ever, it is imperative you remember that you are stronger than circumstances. And it is imperative that you keep your thoughts as uplifting as possible. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem acknowledging that I am a moody bitch. And I have no problem acknowledging that sometimes I don't feel like being spiritual. Sometimes I want to be a fucking cunt. I want to be a fucking cunty cunt. And I'm okay with that. I need to acknowledge that. Because I'm not always positive. I'm not always spiritual and lighthearted. No, sometimes I'm a fucking cunt. A bitch of a cunt. And why should I lie about that? Now, do I want to be a fucking cunt? No. Sometimes it happens. Which is why there's wine. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm half kidding, because sometimes that's what we need. You know, I'm sorry. I have to tell you about this. So I have an upstairs neighbor. So she's staying at home. She's not leaving her apartment. I think her husband works because he needs to work. And of course the schools are closed, so her children are home. Now, I haven't heard her scream in the last 2 days. So I don't know if she killed everybody and herself. I shouldn't joke about these things, but let me tell you, I've been told to bring her a case of wine. I've been told to bring her a case of edibles. She doesn't know who the fuck I am. I mean, she really doesn't know who the fuck I am, so why am I going to bring that to her? She'll be looking at me like, who are you? Who this? No. I want to, because I think it'll help her a lot. But you know, I mean, I feel for her, because I know why she's bitched out. I know exactly why she's bitched out. Anyway, long story short, it was a pleasure and an honor to cast the cards for you, to consult the Sacred Oracle for you. If this reading resonated with you, please let me know. And thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. Thank you for those of you who have availed yourselves of my psychic services. Please keep in mind that, pardon me, although Catland, also known as Catland Books, is closed, their website is still open and running. Notions and Potions is closed, but people can still have readings with me by phone or by Skype through Catland, as well as through Notions and Potions. And I am so happy that Notions and Potions for the time being is accepting card payments in exchange for phone readings and Skype readings. Maybe it'll continue, who knows? I would love for it to continue. I think that would be great, but you know, Cheryl, who is a living goddess who owns Notions and Potions, she knows what she's doing. I'm not going to tell her to run her business, because long before she ever knew of my existence, she was running her business just fine. Okay. And keep in mind that I am still offering a $10 reading in exchange for, I'm offering a 3-question reading in exchange for a minimum $10 donation to the Pandorica Restaurant's GoFundMe page. So as long as you send me a screenshot or forward the email that lists your donation information, the confirmation email, I will happily conduct a reading for you. I will answer your 3 most pressing questions, and I will do so less than 24 hours after you send me that screenshot or forwarded email. And keep in mind that with a lot of crowdfunding pages, the campaign is a temporary thing. So once that campaign is over, that offer is over. So, I mean, you can still have a longer reading with me through Catland or through Notions and Potions, and I will include the link to the blog post that has all that information. But do keep in mind that if you really want to spend as little as possible, this is the offer. And frankly, I think it's the first time in more than, wow, I think it's been more than 15, maybe even more than 20 years. Oh my God, it's real. Well, I am 50 now. Yeah, it's been more than 20 years since I offered a $10 reading. Honey, I'd take advantage of that, seriously. Because you know that's not going to happen again. Wow! It's been more than 20 years since I offered that. So far, only one person's taken advantage of that. I don't know why. Anyway, I just realized that. I'm shocked. Like, damn. Okay. Anyway, thank you, YouTube, for honoring who I am and what I do. Thank you for honoring everybody at Catland and all they do. Thank you for honoring all of us at Notions and Potions and all we do. Thank you for honoring all the wonderful people of Catland, of Notions and Potions, all the YouTube creators we love and adore, metaphysical or not, and all the other good people in the world that are making a big difference in big and in small ways. I wish you a beautiful full moon in Libra. I wish you many blessings of healing, of peace, of plenty, and drink up, witches, and good night.